So hello everybody, my name is Mark Sage, I'm the Executive Director of the area, and I welcome you to the latest of what has been a number of area webinars around thought leadership in the space. And I'm excited to be here today with Masters of Pi. Next slide please, Gonçalo. Just for everybody, I know many of you will already know about the area, but just a quick introduction, just in case we have some new people on the call. The area is the only global membership-funded, not-for-profit alliance helping to accelerate the adoption of enterprise AR. Next slide, please. Reminder that our members are in 3 different segments. We have the enterprises themselves who are successfully deploying enterprise AR. We have a segment that are delivering the services, both from a hardware, software, platform, consultancy, and chipset providers. And then we have a group of non-commercial organizations, government agencies, research institutes, universities, and standards organizations. And by coming together, we're really learning, developing best practice, building those partnerships, and really helping each other develop successful AR implementations. Next slide. Our 4 strategic pillars. We focus on delivering thought leadership, and today's an example of that. And we do that through multiple channels, webinars, podcasts, blog articles. The portal itself is full of useful information. And what we're really targeting is helping business decision makers to make informed decisions about investing in AR. We do lots around networking, bringing the members and the ecosystem together. We find it's really important for them to share experiences, to build those partnerships and really gain those insights to help companies successfully deploy the technology. We are committed to helping reduce the skills gap or close the skills gap. And we do that by working with universities and educational organizations to help them define what AR courses would look like, to provide guest lecturing opportunities, outplacements, and setting the universities and the classes challenges to help them understand about the enterprise AR ecosystem and hopefully encourage them to join the companies and the work that's being done. And then finally, reducing barriers to adoption. We see lots of excellent prototypes and proof of concepts going on, but we'd like to see more of those turn into full deployment. So we have a number of different committees focusing on some of the barriers to adoption, including security, safety, human factors. And we also have a very strong research committee, which is developing excellent and expert research to help companies, again, overcome some of the barriers to adoption. Okay, next slide, please. I mentioned at the start that this is one of many webinars that we've been running, and we've increased that as we are in the kind of pandemic. So please go to the area website, thearea.org, and under the resources, there's videos, podcasts, and other information there. Please have a look at that, have a look at the previous webinars that we've delivered, and you can also go to the area YouTube channel and you'll see all the webinars there, and there's a whole bunch of stuff ranging from thought leadership and the area members to research, security, safety webinars as well. Okay, next slide. And just to plug another one, we've got another webinar going on next week, which is about tackling multiple shop floor challenges with a single AR solution. And that would be with Augmenta. Okay, next slide. Okay, so let's get on to the real action of today. A couple of things with all of our webinars, we really want you to ask questions. So within your control panel, there should be a place to ask questions. Please do that anytime through the presentation. We will keep the questions to the end, and I'll be asking Gonçalo at the end. Also, this will be recorded and made available again through our YouTube channel, and we'll be sending you a link so you can take a look at it as well. So finally, it's my pleasure to introduce Gonçalo from Masters of Pi, who's going to be taken through the base unit of collaboration in AR. So Gonçalo, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for having us today. So today we'll be covering what at Masters of Pi we believe it's the base unit of collaboration in AR. But before jumping to the webinar, just to give a little introduction on what Masters of Pi does and who we are. So we are a software company based in London, and we deliver immersive AR, VR, XR collaboration solutions for enterprise. We have been out there since 2011. We have launched a software development kit called Radical, which allows native softwares to collaborate in real time and add immersive collaboration functionalities or features to those softwares. So in 2018, we did a partnership, an OEM partnership with Siemens Digital Industries. And through that partnership, we have been serving already 175 leaders with our Radical SDK. We have been mainly focused on the automotive, defense, space, aerospace, and manufacturing industries. And we have been invested or backed by some industry leaders in this space, like Williams Advanced Engineering, which is a technology arm of Williams Formula One, Bosch, and Downing. So for today, what we are bringing, we would like to talk about the difference between conferencing and collaboration. How does a collaborative approach can be used in AR? What are the foundations to roll out collaborative AR in your company? What are the technology enablers? And some of the use cases we have been working on and that could be applied. So going straight to the difference between collaboration and conferencing, this year has been quite a unique year for everyone. We all have been forced to work from home. And it's quite interesting because even though we have been forced to that, a lot of workers miss some traditional office environment or traditional elements that you used to have. Things like it's in small ad hoc interactions with our colleagues. We have been taken away from those. And in a survey that I found from Okta about remanaging the workplace after 2020, it seems that 57% of the people that participated miss the relationships they have in the office, and 49% miss having in-person conversations with their co-workers. So we have been moving away to home. We have started to work remotely. We have to start to work remotely and use conferencing tools to work. A very important definition here is what is conferencing. So conferencing is the act of talking to people in different places using your phone or a computer system. While collaboration is the situation of two and more people working together to create and achieve the same thing. So in reality, what we have been doing is using conferencing tools like Teams, Slack, Zoom, GoToMeeting, or WebEx to get our work done. But the solution would be for working remotely for a foreseeable future would be to have collaborative software to get the work done. This is a very good example on the differences between collaboration and conferencing. So in the conferencing approach, you are you're sharing your screen like in this webinar, for example, and only one person has the asset, and the other participants are passively contributing to the problem solving. So they are guiding the active user on to place, in this case, the tail a little bit left or right, up and down. While on a collaborative approach, everyone has the same asset, so everyone can participate and work together towards the same problem solving. Now, when we look at this fundamental difference between conferencing and collaboration, and you look at the a company's assets, you see that companies are made of people, processes, tools, methods, and technology. And what we work, all of us, is with data. So data is at the core of any action a company does nowadays. And to achieve a collaborative review within the business, you have to democratize data. You have to put data at the core and create processes and tools to allow people to work in real time, collaboratively, without exporting or exporting data, without having the frustration to add more tools to your product stack. So it's all about making your tools collaborative in a secure and seamless environment. So the key takeaway from here is that the base unit of collaboration is in fact connecting people as well as the data itself. Because if you don't do that, you will be only conferencing in a spatial environment, for instance, rather than working together with the same data. So how do we put this collaborative approach towards AR? Well, I found there's some really interesting data from Deloitte, and a study they have done with MAPI Smart Factory, where they have identified that 86% of the respondents believe that in the next 5 years, smart factories will be the main driver for competitiveness. They also believe that smart factories will dramatically change the way we produce products, we make products in the next 5 years. And the share of global factory budget towards smart factory initiatives has been increasing. And right now it's already nearly one third of the global factory budget. In terms of areas, one of the areas that you can use smart factory initiatives or develop smart factory initiatives is with digital twins. You have at least 7 areas or 7 different layers where digital twins are being applied today. In computer-aided engineering, CAE, enterprise resource planning, in maintenance, in system engineering, in sensor or industrial IoT, BI analytics, or even in PLM. As of today, this is where companies are trying to implement digital twins. When applying these and building a business case to roll out the smart factory initiative, you need to follow 6 different steps to achieve this. First one is to build a business case and identify the business outcomes of your initiative. Then we are followed by identifying must-have gains and adoption approaches, meaning that we can adapt or iterate the initial business case proposition. A very key point in this framework for me is to engage with leaders in a very early stage. So the earlier the decision makers can see the benefit of implementing a smart factory initiative, will be more beneficial in the long run, as you will see. Another step that is very important, it's also to create small use cases, because with this we are diversifying our portfolio. So that means that we increase and improve our chances of success, but also, as we will see later on in during the webinar is the fact that these small use cases, they create adoption and resilience in the business. Then always look at short-term ROI, because this is a way that you can build strong use cases, and you can actually validate that you can build more. And then incremental investment will be more successful than large requests. So having a lot of successful small use cases will make your business resilient for future investment. Building the right business case helps the success of a digital factory, a digital twin, or smart factory initiative. Here are some examples of use cases that you can work on. Things like advanced manufacturing, factory asset intelligence, deploying it in warehousing solutions are very good examples. The key point that we take from here is that you have use cases going from the design stage to the maintenance stage. So the multiple points for rolling out AR are a lot. Now, following this analysis, this is some very interesting data. What this report tells you about is that there are already some cohorts of companies implementing smart factory initiatives, and they can be organized or classified as trailblazers, explorers, or followers. So in a case of a trailblazer, there are companies that are moving already towards a complete transformation of at least one factory. So at least one of their factories is becoming a pure smart factory. Of course, they have a lot, but to achieve this, they need a lot of budget factory share. So they have usually 65, 2/3 of the budget share is allocated into smart factories. They have a lot of use cases in action, and they have already seen benefits around 20%. And these benefits include change in production output, factory capacity utilization, and employee productivity from smart factory initiatives in the last 3 years. The biggest cohort is explorers. So it's companies that are implementing initiatives. They don't have yet a lot of budget share to roll out more initiatives, but they are building these use cases and business cases to validate and achieve one smart factory factor. Then the third cohort is followers. So it's companies that are actually now starting their digital journey. They don't have a lot of use cases, but they are going in that direction. So what we see here is that the digital thread, or having multiple departments or stages of your business, including in a digital thread, bring multiple touch points for AR use cases from design to maintenance. And smart factories will become a reality in the next 5 years, and they will be the main driver for competition. Adopting smart factory initiatives can generate 20% in benefits, as we saw in terms of production output. Adopting simple and effective use cases where AR can be implemented will spread internal adoption, and more use cases to prepare the company when scale-up is required. So having known right now that, okay, collaboration means that we all need to work together with the same asset or the same data. There are multiple touch points and opportunities to include AR in different areas or aspects of the business, what are the foundations to roll out the collaborative AR approach in my business? So one of the key aspects is to have real-time integration. Having to import or export data from one platform to the other, in my view, it's not feasible. Mainly because you are exporting data, so that it's data captured in one specific moment in time. Plus, you also have to upload data to another platform, so the load time of this can impact the decision making and the whole process of design creation, for instance. So it's quite important that you have a real-time integration in place where you can access your models in AR, for instance, in just one click. Another very important thing to have in account is bidirectionality. So is to access the single point of truth data and allowing you to do changes in real time and seeing that those changes happening in your model, in your immersive experience. Security is also a main thing to have in account. So being able to share sensitive data across different locations in a collaborative approach is something that you need to have in mind. Although by integrating a tool in your existing software, you don't have to do extra layers of security. So like, as long as your software checks the boxes, everything should be fine. And then modularity, that's something that is very, very important because every use case is different. So to have AR, embedded in different multiple touch points of the business, you need this modularity to make it fit. Another thing to have in account to deploy AR successfully is to embrace technology enablers. So at the moment we are all in the industry, we are all looking forward the implementation of 5G and edge compute on the enterprise and manufacturing level, because as of today these experiences are still very tethered. And 5G will definitely bring mobile to this experience and will allow the rollout of AR in a factory environment, for instance, quicker. And another technology enabler to have in accounting is already like live in the market is server-side rendering. For those who don't know, server-side rendering is basically to remove the graphic heavy lifting from your devices and put it on the cloud. What this means is that devices will become lighter. They don't need to have a lot of memory to share this immersive experience, and they will be cheaper to produce. So that's something that we believe it will be a game changer in the near future. And cloud streaming, also to allow real-time collaboration. We all know that streaming through a streaming, sometimes it's not very practical and doesn't work quite well. So I think we believe that cloud streaming will also be a technology enabler that will facilitate the rollout of collaborative AR in the industrial context. I would like to show you now some use cases that Masters of Pi have been running using AR in the manufacturing context. So in this case, it's a multi-user collaboration use case where we have during a design review, you have multiple users in the same session using AR and VR devices, and they are basically analyzing a model in real scale. I'm not sure if the video will play 100%, but rest assured that by the end of the session, we'll share the slides and links to the video so that everyone can see them properly. But in this case, in this particular video, what we are showing here, it's as I was saying, because you have access to the same data, to the data, you're able to see or isolate parts of the model and have access to the 3D model in real time. Another use case we have been working on is what we call augmented workplaces or workspaces in this case. So on the left you have an image representing on what we are trying to achieve here, but it's the ability to see an holographic one-to-one scale display of your model on your desk while you're doing design adjustments. And this is possible based on the real-time integration that I was talking about. So not having to wait to load data into a different platform, but also, and more importantly, it's the bidirectionality. So the ability to do changes or inspect the model in real time and see them. So I'll try to play this video. Sorry. That one is not. Okay, it's not working. I'll move to the next one. Next one, it's a streaming toolkit. In this use case, what we do here is try the objective of this use case is to bring the decision makers to the very early stage of developing a business case around AR. So what you can do with this type of approach is to create a streaming conference where your design review can be seen across desktop, mobile, or even conferencing devices. So people are accessing the data in real time and deciding a design approach or a production go or no go decision. So this is very particularly when you are shifting or finishing the design stage and handing it over to manufacturing. Another very famous use case for smart factories, it's a remote expert assist. So for those who aren't familiar with it, it's the ability to have a digital twin of an asset, of a factory asset with live data, and also having an expert that is accessing that data in real time and guiding the floor worker in doing some maintenance or inspection. Also, another one that it's called digital sleeving. So in this type of use case, what you do in the design, what you have in the design stage, usually when you have electrical teams that take care of the wiring of a car seat, for instance, and when you're when you're putting everything together, you need to know where the cabling goes and to avoid damaging the work. So the other example of adding AR, it's with a robotic simulation. So in this case, what we are seeing here, it's a robotic arm that it's placed on a factory floor. So with the AR glasses, we were able to anchor to render and anchor the robotic arm, and then we can do changes in real time. So the robotic arm first wasn't performing as expected, and then by doing these changes, you can adjust the model and fail in software before failing in real life, so that when you bring this new machine or this new robotic arm to the factory floor, everything performs as expected. So smart factory. So just to conclude on this, like a smart factory in the smart factory environment and empowered by the low latency of 5G and server-side rendering, you'll start to see more and more use cases like this, like having expert capture. So for training, you'll see remote expert assist for maintenance. So these will be some very interesting use cases that will come in the near future. We are currently developing with Hyperbat some of these use cases. So Hyperbat, it's a joint venture between Williams Advanced Engineering and Unipart, and they are building a smart factory that produces batteries here in the UK. And we, alongside with other tech partners, we are implementing some of these use cases, which we'll have to show next year. So the takeaways from here are that true collaboration requires connecting people and data together. The digital thread brings multiple touch points for deploying AR use cases from design to maintenance. Smart factories are coming, and they will be the main driver. You can expect benefits of around 20% by applying smart factory initiatives. You can create solid AR foundations by having bidirectionality, real-time integration in place, and embrace the future.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Gonçalo. Just very interesting. I think there's a lot of stuff there. So thank you very much for your kind of insights and presentation. Just a reminder, we're just going to take a few kind of questions here. So if you've got any questions you'd like to ask, please put them into the questions box. We've got a couple here already. Let me just take the first one there. I think I'm going to take this one first. To access AR data with one click needs a visualization model rather than a CAD model for optimal viewing. Do you agree with this is the case, and do you think CAD models and their high volume vector based definitions is acceptable for AR use? And the reason why I asked that is the area has actually recently done a piece of research. So I'll let you answer first, Gonçalo, but I'll come back to that because I've got some view on that as well.
Well, I think it depends on. I think it depends on the specific use case. For instance, if you are in the design stage and you need to have access to the actual data, I think a CAD model will be more beneficial. Now, if you're doing if you're using that model just for training purposes, probably you don't need such a high details and heavy data. You probably can have a B representation, a B rep of that model instead of having a very heavy file.
Yeah, and if I can just add to that, I think you're absolutely right with your first kind of comment there. It does depend very much on the use case and the problem you're trying to solve. Through our area research capability, we ask all of the area members, we do this twice a year, what research would they like to see? And the 7th research project was basically along these lines. Along these lines, the proposal was to test a number of different tool sets to take big 3D models, be it CAD, BIM, point clouds, and things like that, and then take them through these tool sets, tool chains, to then deploy them on different end devices, so tablets and HMDs and stuff like that. So it's a great piece of research. The executive summary is available on the area website. I would say at the highest level, the gentleman did the research, did point out that it all does depend on the use case, but he'd gone through 6 different tool chains. I think it's 11 different models and deployed it on 4 different tablets. So there's real insightful information there on what can be done. But thank you for your answer there as well. We got another one here. Data is often structured to suit a company's processes or organization. Does this inhibit true collaboration working between organizations? Can you advise on data architecture to migrate or migate this issue? That's a pretty tough question.
Well, I think in the ideal world, that would happen. Like you would be, if you could have a collaborative approach between organizations. I think that's the ultimate vision. But even inside one company, like and especially if you talk on the enterprise level, you have so many different different processes and tools that to have a way to make everything work together can be challenging. But I believe it's possible, and at least that's my vision. I think softwares need to become more collaborative, especially because of the situations we have been put through this year. And I think the industry is moving in that direction.
Thank you. If it's okay, I'm going to ask you a slightly simpler, or not simpler, but a more kind of lower level one. Obviously we've been involved in the industry for a long time now, and companies are delivering kind of single use cases often. It's kind of getting started, but could you maybe talk about from a general perspective, what are the benefits of delivering multiple AR use cases?
Sure. I think deploying a lot of different use cases, it's and small use cases is beneficial just because of the following. You are increasing your touch points of AR within the business, and if you start small, by the time that the company or the business decides to roll out and implement AR in a more structured way, by that time you already have created some stickiness around the business and around different departments. So the business case will be easily justified by having a lot of people that are slightly dependent on this technology, rather than having one very strong and concrete use case.
Great, thank you. I think the other bit I would add to that, in my experience, the business case that you mentioned, the ability to show kind of what I would call cost of ownership. So if you're having to buy, be it software and or hardware, the more use cases you have, obviously that cost of ownership comes down as well. So it kind of helps with the business case development as well as the stickiness, and obviously the improving performance and creating efficiencies as well.
Exactly, you're absolutely right.
Perfect. Okay, so I know there are a couple of other questions, but I think we've come to the end of the webinar, or the information we want. We will respond to those questions via email as well. it just leaves me to thank you all for attending the latest area thought leaders webinar. There's another one next week as well. And most importantly, to thank Gonçalo for a really great presentation and some insights into working and bringing together some kind of complicated themes in a pretty careful and clear way. So thank you very much, everybody. I wish you all the best and keep safe. And thank you finally, Gonçalo, for a great presentation. And
Thank
speak
you.
to you all again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.